Hey, what's going on, everyone? Axel here. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that is really important in terms of how video games and the video game industry is evolving, and that's digital media versus physical media. Which one's better? Why would you choose one over the other? What do the big video game companies want? Etc., etc. So let's go ahead and start by talking about the pros and cons of each one. So digital. The big pro with digital is there's no worry about having to put games in and out of your console. They're all right there for you to access at any time. If you have digital on your PS4 or Xbox One, you can just go to your games library, select the game, and play it. Same with Steam, that are all digital. No problems there. But with physical, obviously you have to actually get up and put the game disc in and out of the system. If something's physical like a disc, you can also run the risk of breaking it. Now you can also break a console, but that's a little different. Physical games are also easier to lose, so that's an issue there. Now the con of digital is that if you lose, it depends on what system you're on, Nintendo versus Xbox or PS4, but sometimes if you lose the console or your hard drive dies, you can lose all of your games, which is an issue. They're all at one point. But the biggest con with digital is that you cannot resell digital games. Once you buy them, if you buy a game new for $60 and you don't like it, you can't return it. Most of the time, you can't sell it to anyone else because it's a digital file. You have nothing physical to give them. Whereas with physical games, you can resell games if you don't like them. But if you buy something new for $60 on digital and you find out that you just don't like that game, you're kind of screwed. So now let's go into what I think. I'm someone who never buys digital unless I have to. I mean, if there's a game that's digital only, there's no physical release offered, and I really want to play it, yeah, I'll buy it. But for the most part, I buy all my games physical that have a physical option, which is most all of them. And I do that because of a couple reasons. I like to collect my games. I don't want to just own the games. I like to actually have them just for collecting purposes. If you buy digital, you can't actually, there's nothing to collect, you can't display it, you can't show it to people, etc., etc. You can't enjoy the artwork, what's on the case. Also, I like having control of my games. The thing with digital, once you buy a game digitally, you don't actually own it. To own it, you have to have something physical that you can trade. With a digital game, it's locked to your console. You have no control over it. It's more like Netflix, really, when you buy a game digitally, especially if you're through something like Steam. I know when you buy a game through Steam, you might think that you own it, but you actually don't own anything you buy from Steam because it all depends. You don't actually have control over it. It all depends on Steam allowing you to play the game. If Steam shuts down like it did a couple months ago, you can't play your games. If Steam goes out of business one day, you can't play your games anymore. So that's an issue. But with physical, I have physical games like from the original NES. Those are mine forever as long as I don't destroy them or they don't get lost, anything like that. They're still mine to play forever. I can still get a game and put it in my NES. And I think that's the big issue why I think physical is important. Now, this also leads us into the next topic. Why don't companies discount digital if it's not worth as much? And it all comes down to marketing and what companies are trying to do and trying to push the gaming industry into. Okay, the thing with the game companies is they want digital. It's in the best interest of all those companies, Nintendo, Xbox, Microsoft, and Sony, that everyone go digital because that gives them the most control over the games. It eliminates the resale market effectively. That means they can make more profit off of their games because they don't have as much competition from places like GameStop. And when someone when they own everything, they can set all the rules. So they can decide to charge whatever they want for DLC, whatever they want for a game, and they know you don't have that option of buying it used, so you have to buy it from them new every time, which is an issue. So that's really the big reason why companies want to push you towards digital, and it's why I wouldn't be surprised if the next line of consoles from Xbox and Microsoft goes an all digital route. The Xbox already tried to do that with the original Xbox One when they had all those DRM features and things, which really pushed us really towards all digital, because if you remember on Xbox One release, all your games are like tied to your Xbox One account. You can only share, I think, like there are really a lot of restrictions on how you could share your games effectively, other than saving like limits from your data from your internet provider on your data. There really was no incentive to buy anything physical because it didn't hold any more value than a digital game, because there were so many restrictions on how you could trade and when you could trade. So yeah, so I think that we will see a trend, more of a push into digital when people start to accept it more. And I think Microsoft, with their original release of the Xbox One, they did this too early. People weren't ready. People didn't have the mindset yet of digital being acceptable. And I think that companies we see are trying to push us more and more into that direction with more and more DLC. More and more games that aren't really complete on release. More, if you've seen, especially this generation compared to the last one, over the last 2 generations of games with the PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii, now onto the new version of the consoles, we've seen a higher and higher percentage of the games be digital. Back when Sony was releasing games on the PS2, almost every single game was 100% complete on disc. Now the trend today with the PS4 or the Xbox One is oftentimes you buy a game day one, you might have like half the game done, the other half might be DLC. They might have like 30% of the game finished, and you might have to wait to get the rest of the game through patches, whether that be paid patch updates or not. We've just seen this trend of them pushing more and more towards digital. And I think this is why they don't want to ever discount digital, and digital is never going to be discounted, even though it is worth inherently less than a physical game, because in the end these game companies want to push us towards accepting, in our minds, having the mindset of accepting digital. They're trying to rebrand what a video game is and what video game ownership is. They want to work this mindset of like you owning a game out of you. They don't want you to actually think you own a game anymore. As funny as that, like they want to give you the mindset that you have for something like Netflix, to where you're okay with not actually owning any of the things you're paying for. You're just renting. They want to move you from ownership to rental acceptability. And that's really messed up when you think about it. That's what they're trying to do. But for them, it makes the most sense money-wise. But they will continue to offer physical if gamers like us don't give in to this and just continue to demand physical games. And a lot of gamers don't support digital for this reason, because it's kind of the game companies trying to take our rights away. And there's one other big hurdle, I think, to an all digital world of gaming, that, and I alluded to this earlier, and that's the increasing costs of data usage for internet. Data usage caps across the country are becoming more and more common. I know last year my internet service provider put them into effect for me, which really sucks, and it really limits how many games I can download. I think my cap is something like 250 gigabytes of data per month. That's for everything. That's for internet, Netflix, online gaming, me watching Twitch, streaming, everything. So I have to be really cognizant of what games I do download. So even though I am a member of, I do have an Xbox Gold account, and we do get free games. Well, not free, quote unquote, but the Xbox 360 are free digital games. The Xbox One games they give you, you lose if you give up your Gold subscription. But they're kind of free access to. But whatever, I'm getting off the topic. Even though I get access to games with Gold, I actually have to be really cognizant of which ones I download and how big the file sizes are, because I cannot go over 250 gigs, and if I do, I have to pay like a huge fee. So, and I think as games get bigger and bigger, which they are, they're going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. Like we're getting games that are like 70 gigabytes plus, and as that happens more, it's going to become more and more of a challenge for companies to push these digital releases, because more and more people just can't download it. Like people like myself, like if there's a game, even if it's free, that's like that big of a file size, I don't even know if I can download it. And that's one of the other things that physical really brings to the table still, even though companies want to push all this digital stuff, is that when you buy a game physically, even though like maybe only 50% of the game is on the disc, at least you save 50% of the data from being downloaded. Maybe if a game's 70 gigabytes, maybe 50 gigs is on the disc and 20 gigs is DLC. At least you save 50 gigs of data, because you can download 50 of the gigabytes through the disc without having to burn that data. So guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. Just wanted to share my thoughts on this topic. Please comment below and let me know what you think about this topic, and if you think anything I said was wrong or crazy. Guys, I'm a somewhat new YouTuber. I have other channels, but this is one of my newest channel, and I'd like to continue to upload regularly. So if you enjoy the content, please leave me a like and please hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Have a good one.